Investigations are stepping up inside Congress and pressure building for investigations outside Congress. If you look at everything that the Russians did during the campaign, they were all timed according to moments of weakness in the Trump operation.
Well, for months, President Trump has waged an ongoing war with the intelligence community, and now with the CIA potentially suffering from the worst security breach in recent history, the White House is further criticizing the agency for being outdated.
There's grave concern that the president has about the release of national security and classified information that threatens and undermines our nation's security. Obviously, he believes that the systems at the CIA are outdated and need to be updated. But I think the situation technology-wise at the CIA, the president's acknowledged, needs to be updated.
Well, as the CIA puts together a damage assessment, NBC News reports that the FBI has begun a criminal investigation. Officials say they're trying to determine, quote, whether an agency employee, contractors, Russian hackers, or some combination of those three is to blame. I'm joined right now by Ken Delaney, reporter with the NBC News investigative unit. Tara Maller is a former CIA analyst, currently with the Counter-Extremism Project. And Naveed Jamali is a former FBI double agent and MSNBC contributor. You're smiling. We'll get to you about that smile. Let me ask you, Ken. It seems to me we've got a weird sort of, like in basketball, as we were kids, three on that side, three on the other. Donald Trump is siding up on the side of the Russians, it seems, again and again, and now with WikiLeaks, because that all helped him get the election won. It may not have won it for him, but it certainly helped in destroying Hillary Clinton with all those leaks of her email over and all the email at the DNC. And now, with this big document dump and the information flowing out about the CIA and its operations, its ability to hack into people's systems, he's taken the weird smile, refusing to criticize. I think any other president would have criticized WikiLeaks.
Yeah, I don't know what we can read.
What side's he on?
I don't know what we can read in Donald Trump's smile, but I was struck that
No, refusal to speak and smile.
True, but I was struck that his spokesperson, didn't condemn WikiLeaks today. I mean, WikiLeaks.
No, he condemned the CIA and said they're out of date.
Exactly. And WikiLeaks has been responsible for a number of breaches of classified material over the years, and it's the first reflex of every policymaker: condemn the leak, condemn WikiLeaks. That didn't happen today. Now,
what you make of Chris Murphy, the senator from Connecticut, saying there's something sinister about that timing, just as he's on the ropes and the Russian connection's on the ropes, and everybody knows, trying to find out more and more about Trump's connection to the Russians, especially Putin. All of a sudden, the collaborators with the Russians dump all this information out to change the subject.
As I speak to current and former U.S. officials about this, most of them see a Russian hand here somewhere. Even if it was an insider that actually leaked this stuff, it's hard to imagine. I mean, the U.S. intelligence community views WikiLeaks as a subsidiary of Russian intelligence at this point. So it's hard to imagine Russia wasn't involved here somehow, Chris.
Tara.
I think I agree with a lot of what Ken said already. I think it's interesting Donald Trump did not come out and condemn this. He's had tensions with the intelligence community since taking office. It's strange to me that there was the biggest breach in CIA's history.
What's the smile mean? I mean, who's it, Mona Lisa? What a kind of weird smile? I mean, it's so cute.
I think he likes to pretend he has information that other people don't have, but you know what? The intelligence community has probably more information than he does. So unless he can show the information that he's basing this on, I'm not sure what that smile is about. The bottom line is there was a huge amount of information stolen. It could have been an insider, it could have been Russian intelligence, it could have been a combination. It should be condemned. The investigation should punish the individual responsible, and this is going to be extremely detrimental to counterintelligence and counterterrorism operations.
Naveed, we all know what Trump knows. We know he knows. It's not complicated. It's like Columbo in the old days. He knows he was helped by the Russians. He's never said a bad word about the Russians. He loves them. He knows that WikiLeaks delivered all the information about what was coming on it that was going wrong or whatever, what Jennifer Palmieri was saying on her emails about Catholics, or what John Podesta was saying about Hillary. All that embarrassing stuff got out thanks to WikiLeaks and their Russian buddies or whatever. Now he's smiling at the fact that WikiLeaks is going whole hog against the CIA. Put it together. What's up?
Well, look,
what's the smile
Chris,
about?
I mean, the big thing here is that what he doesn't understand is he's not campaigning anymore. What WikiLeaks did as a laundromat service for the Russians was essentially continue on the attack of essentially just making us look weak, which is really at the core of it what Russia seeks to do.
Why is Trump like that?
I don't think he realizes that.
Presidents treasure the CIA because it's their one way when they get up every morning of finding out what the hell's going on in the world and threats that may be coming our way, especially his way because he's president, or she's way, if she's president. And yet he's enjoying what seems to be the undermining of the intelligence agency.
That's absolutely right. I don't even think, Chris, I'm not so sure that he understands the difference between a wiretap that would come under under law enforcement and intelligence collection that would come from the CIA. He doesn't understand that those are two vastly different entities. So I don't think he really understands what's going on, to be fair. And, you know, he said my
you're being
wires
very
were
fair.
tapped.
You're being very fair. Anyway, lawmakers have strongly condemned WikiLeaks and its founder, Julian Assange, today. Look, anyway, this is what happened today. Republican Senator Ben Sassa, who's from Nebraska, said in a statement, Julian Assange should spend the rest of his life wearing an orange jumpsuit. He's an enemy of the American people and an ally of Vladimir Putin. Mr. Assange has dedicated his life's work to endangering innocent lives, abetting despots, and stoking a crisis of confidence in the West. When Sean Spicer was asked today, however, whether Assange belongs in jail, listen to what he said.
Some Republicans have said Julian Assange should be in prison. Does the president agree?
The U.S. government had a position on Julian Assange's position in the past, and I don't see anything that's changed that. He has compromised in the past and undermined our national security, and I think I'll leave it up to the Department of Justice to further comment on their disposition of him.
Let me translate that into English. Today's Thursday. Usually after Thursday we have Friday. Tomorrow will be Friday. That was the most useless statement in the world. He is obviously got a short leash on him. Don't say anything nasty about the Russians or Julian Assange or WikiLeaks, because they've helped me get elected president.
It's remarkable. And this is a devastating blow to the CIA, reputationally as well as operationally. I mean, the CIA has built a hacking operation to help it do human
Okay, how does he, Tara, let's human question. The president gets up in the morning, the first thing you would do if you were president, or I would do, would want to know what's going on in the world. So somebody comes in, they sit in your room, they have a cup of coffee, and they tell you what's going on in the world. They got all the intelligence, everything out there they tell you, good and bad. He's dumping on that agency that's giving him that information.
Exactly. The president's daily brief is one of the key sources of critical information for the president. Not only during his campaign did he sort of push it aside and say it wasn't really that relevant and he didn't need it every day, he outsourced it to other individuals. Now we see criticism being launched at the CIA again about their vulnerabilities, as opposed to launching criticism at the Russians, launching criticism at WikiLeaks. He has criticism for a lot of parties. We see this on Twitter.
What side's he on? Is he on the side of Assange and the Russians or our own government?
I mean, it's a
that's
good
a cruel question, but you got to wonder.
That's the question.
Anyway,
Congress will hopefully get to
go
that.
ahead, Naveed. You answer the question. By the way, we got to get this first. President Trump has defended Julian Assange in the past after WikiLeaks released those emails that Russia stole from Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman John Podesta. Trump took Assange's word over the conclusions of the U.S. intelligence agency. He took the side of Assange. He tweeted it past January. Julian Assange said a 14-year-old could have hacked Podesta. Also said Russians did not give him the info. He believed Russia, and he believed, well, of course, he always believes Russia, and he believed Assange. What do you make of it? Naveed.
Well, look, there's a question, I think a fair one, which is, you know, do journalistic protections extend to Julian Assange? But that's not what the president is saying. The president campaigned on thanking Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. So how does he come back politically and make a 180 here when essentially, you know, WikiLeaks, whether they were the direct recipient from this insider or they received it from the Russians, they're complicit in essentially doing something that gravely threatens our national security.
Well, earlier this morning, Nigel Farage, a Trump confidant and former leader of the UK, that's the right-wing party, the Independence Party, was seen visiting the Ecuadorian embassy over in London, where Assange has been living, not by his own choice, since 2012. When approached by BuzzFeed News, Farage said he couldn't remember what he had been doing in the building. What, do you think they had a bathroom? And when asked whether he had met with Julian Assange, Farage said, I never discuss where I go or who I see. How mysterious. With a trench coat, I guess. Here's how Sean Spicer answered the question today about whether Farage was acting on behalf of the president, our president.
The question is not what Farage was doing, but can you tell us he just wasn't there on behalf of the White House?
Sure. I don't. He is not. I'm not. This is silly. I really don't think asking where random foreign leaders are and whether or not they're there. I'm sure he was there doing whatever on behalf of either the British. I don't keep his schedule. I'm not sure.
Well, that was informative. So here, where are we at? Where does it take you guys first? Last word from everybody. Where does it take you? We got the Russians we knew were helping Trump get elected. We know that WikiLeaks helped that whole operation. They delivered all the information to us. We now know WikiLeaks and Assange is out there bragging how they've undermined the CIA, damaged our ability to hack into information around the world, really killed, in many ways, the expert, the FBI's, the CIA's ability to do its job. And Trump seems to be smiling past the graveyard here.
And we're chuckling over this, but there's a serious issue here. Assange has made a remarkable charge, as yet unproven, that the entire CIA hacking arsenal has gotten loose and is in the wild and is not usable. We don't know if that's true, but if that is a major blow to U.S. intelligence efforts, Chris.
I think
Sarah?
between the stories today, between the Russian hacking, there's a lot of smoke, and we haven't yet found the fire. And I'm not sure how big the fire
There's
actually
more than
is.
smoke here. There's some fire. What do you,
There
what
is
do you
some
make
fire,
of
but
WikiLeaks?
we don't exactly know what the fire is. There could be some criminal behavior that's being covered up. There could be potential compromising information that was being covered up. We don't know what the fire is, but we know that there's a lot of smoke and some sparks. I'll give you that.
Well, after his meeting with top lawmakers on Capitol Hill this afternoon, FBI Director James Comey declined to answer a question about whether Trump Tower was wiretapped. Let's watch.
Are there any legal wiretaps at Trump Tower?
Casey's got one of the toughest stakeout moves I've ever seen. She gets right to the guy, but she can't make the horse talk. Anyway, good work by Casey there. I want to thank Naveed for being on the show. Jamali, thanks for coming here. And, of course, Ken Delaney, as always, and Tara. I think there's sparks. I thought it was somewhere between smoke and fire, but I think it's something. Coming up, the health care fight. President Trump has a fallback position if Congress doesn't pass the Republicans'